This is a smart move. The company is like, if we just drip him out in AMACO stuff, the other companies will stay away from him. Hello, you dirty potters. How are you today? Oh, yes. Guess who I've been talking to? That's right, AMACO has a new line of glazes out called Potter's Flux, and they sent us a couple bottles to test on the channel, but they sent us an entire big old box of stuff, so let's open this up. Ooh! They sent us a t-shirt! Check that out, that's cool. I did not expect a t-shirt, but I am going to wear this. Ooh, and a little love note with it too. We are so excited to see what you make with our new Potter's Choice Flux glazes. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions about the glazes. We are here to help. We appreciate your time and expertise. Well, thank you, AMACO. I appreciate that. You see that just like when they put smiley faces on your cup at Starbucks and leave the phone number on the receipt? That's how you know me and AMACO are in a serious relationship. What is this? Is it AMACO sticker? Going straight on my computer. They're like, if we douse him in AMACO stuff, the other companies won't hit on him. It looks like they also gave me a bunch of test styles in pamphlet form. A lot of companies do this. They'll give you a piece of paper with their company glazes to show you what the glaze might look like on your products, and they'll give you, let me see, yep, here's the catalog right here. Super nice, and I think these are all the glazes that they sent us. They also gave us a 2023 field guide. We're gonna check this out later, but I think we're really here to test out one of these glazes today on the channel. Let's see what they gave us. They gave us some honeydew. Unfortunately, it looks like the bottle broke open in shipping, but that's okay. The high majority of the glaze is still in there and it's not dried out, so that's good. We got the honeydew here. Here's the citrus flow, Pcf-54 so I assume that's Potter's Choice Flux. This is a new one for me. Usually it's PC or C, Celadon. This is PCF, that's good. That's how I identify this in stores. We have River Birch here, Pcf-74. We have Flux Blossom, Pcf-54. We have Midnight Run, Pcf-3. And finally, we have Moss Mist, Pcf-75. The fact that it goes from like 3 to 75, the previous glaze, makes me think that they have like a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there's probably more glazes, or that their system of naming things is more intricate than my caveman brain can think of. Look at all this AMACO stuff they sent me. Look, they got me a t-shirt, they got me a field guide, they sent a note. I am, however, gonna put this shirt on right now. And I'm gonna do it off camera, you pervert. If you want me to start an OnlyFans page, you're gonna have to pay for the goods. Yes. Paint me like a bowl of fruit for college credits. Okay, well, they gave us an assortment of glazes here, but the one that I'm most interested in, where is it? Here it is, right here, Flux Blossom. This is the one that we're gonna test today on the channel. This is the one that I'm the most excited about. We're gonna mix this with an AMACO PC glaze called Amber Float. We've already tested this on the channel. It came out fantastic. It's a really nice tan color with a tiny bit of crystallization if you can get it to work right. So in today's video, we're gonna be testing AMACO's Potter's Choice Flux Blossom Pcf-54. I'm excited about this one because I think that I can get enough of a contrast to make something really nice. We're also going to test the base on some red clay body because I noticed that a lot of the flux glazes from a lot of companies do really well on a brown clay body. So we're going to test the base on this one right here. We're also going to do a brush test style because a lot of you in the comments below always talk about how you want me to brush the glaze on. So I'm going to dip this first one and then we're going to brush a layer of Pcf-54 on top of this right here.
Darling, yeah. Sugar, won't you take the reins tonight? Let me see you take control for a minute. Tell me what you want, what you really want. certified. Say, I don't know if oh, won't you give me that?
As is custom, before we put these in the kiln, let's break down what we're putting in and how we layered these. These two are porcelain bowls with my Tenmoku gold recipe with Flux Blossom from AMACO on top of them. These two are going to be the standard for what we expect. The high majority of the time, whenever I want to do a rim on something, you probably noticed in the glazing, I'll just put the glaze inside of a canister or some type of blue tub, tip the product upside down, and rim it a little bit. This way it comes out relatively even, and I get a nice thick coat that I can always double dip if I want a thicker coat. So these are perfect. These two right here are Ron Roy's High Gloss Black, a very standard glaze recipe that most glaze crafters know how to make, with Flux Blossom on the top of it. The only difference is that there's a chattered body right underneath the rim right there, if you can see it. I want to test this out because I want to see if Flux Blossom will run a little bit and really affect the texture of this bowl. So these are relatively standard with what I do in my normal work. This one, however, is for you brush heads out there. This is amber float that's been poured on, as I usually do, but I brushed on Flux Blossom on the very, very top. You probably can't see it too well because they're both white glazes. And to be honest with you, it got really cloudy and started raining in the middle of 80-degree weather here in Sacramento. So the lighting might be a little bit different right now. But I did brush this on for those of you who wanted a brush test style. This one over here is also Tenmoku gold, but the only difference is that I brushed this on instead of rimmed it on inside of a blue tub. This one is essentially going to be the comparison of the first batch right here. So these two are rimmed. This one is brushed. And this last one is a redstone clay body with poured on Flux Blossom. I want to see how this stands alone on a red clay body, because a good portion of the time whenever I get these type of flux glazes, they often look really good with a little bit of iron in them, and this red clay body will supply that iron to the glaze most likely. So I want to see how this comes out, and last time we did a flux, it turned out great on a red clay body, so I think this will do great. Let me know which one down in the comments below you think will come out the best, and let's put these in the kiln. Okay, now that everything's out of the kiln, let's take a look. Let's take a look at our white and brown textiles first. I deeply apologize, I did glaze this one without you off screen, but I wanted a white base textile representation of this glaze, and it came out pretty well. If you look at the very top part here, you can really see where this glaze shines, and true to its nature, it does come out how it says on the bottle. You can really see that type of light pinkish iridescent glaze that's on the bottle here, and it matches pretty well. I love that. That's immediately a big point for this glaze. The fact that the glaze on the white clay textile does represent what it says on the bottle. You guys know that I love that so much. The other thing that I'm noticing is that the part that I glazed right here, just to see if it would kind of mold together, was an amalgamation of some type of rutile glaze. I made it myself. It was a tester batch. I forgot what it's called, but my brain at the time was like, I'm gonna see if there's any movement in this glaze, and it did really well. Granted, it didn't move that much, but it did essentially combined from the flux all the way to the new glaze and made a brand new type of glaze right in the middle there. It gave it some fantastic visual texture. I'm a fan of this. I like this. Telling you guys this, but no one believes me because everyone's like, oh, flux glazes are supposed to go on top of other glazes and that's the only way you're supposed to use them is with the way the company said. Like, you're not artists. Like, you're not supposed to break the rules once in a while. Is that these glazes go fantastic on a brown clay body, and I really, really do mean that.
Darling. Yeah. No. Sugar, won't you take the reins tonight?
Look at that. Look at that. Every single time I get a Flux brand glaze, I always try it on a red clay body by itself, and it generally comes out really nice and iridescent and fantastic like this. Granted, I feel like I can probably find some better combos than this, than using it plain on a red clay body, but I'm still amazed every single time I get a Flux glaze from a company that it works out fine by itself, even though it wasn't meant to be used like this. I'm gonna try my best not to keep this, but this would ironically make a very good tea bowl. Okay, those two were amazing, so let's go to something a bit more disappointing, just to curb your enthusiasm. These two are the Tenmoku Gold underneath Flux Blossom that I rimmed on the top of two porcelain bowls.
Just a little bit. Good luck. Let me get that. I love it when you walk. I love it when you talk.
Unfortunately, it did virtually nothing. In fact, I think once I rimmed it, it ran immediately all the way down to the bottom of the foot right here, because my Tenmoku Gold does not turn that brand of blue whatsoever. I've never seen it do that in its entire life, and it did this time. But I do notice if I put this Flux Blossom on a certain type of glaze, it turns a tiny bit blue sometimes, as you will see in the future part of this episode. So I think that is all of the Flux Blossom that ran all the way from the rim down to this part here at the foot, which makes sense because Tenmoku Gold is a relatively high flux glaze, so we kind of just combined two fluxy things in hopes that they would make some kind of melty melt, but went a little too hard in the paint there. And don't get me wrong, I am pretty impressed with these two bowls still. It is a beautiful set of bowls, but to the naked eye observer, which I guess is all of us, all of our eyes are naked, you perverts, it essentially looks like I only put one glaze on here. So I'm gonna call these two not a net loss, because these are still gonna go on the website, but nothing really happened with the Flux Blossom, unfortunately. I think I just picked the wrong combo. However, one of the better combos are my High Gloss Black with Flux Blossom on the very rim.
Give me some a little bit. That body make me smooth just a little bit. A lot of times I keep it cool, let me get it good. Look, baby girl, you know what's up in there. Gone girl, gon' sway, go and walk, then doing that thing, make it harder. Nonsense coming out my mouth, cause you're gorgeous.
I'm so happy with these. I am so happy with these. And my hypothesis was correct. I think before, when I glazed these, I want to say about a week ago, I was like, oh, I want to see if it'll affect any of this chattering here. I want to see. That's what I sound like. And I was right, because I rimmed it pretty much only right here. It ran just enough to touch the riveted part of the bowl, and I'm really happy with this little amount of texture I got right here. Also, if you look really closely, you can kind of see a purplish hue right on the chattered state of the bowl, and that is what I wish I got more of. But you can definitely see like blues, a little bit of purple, a little bit of tan right there, and it transfers perfectly into the black. I'm super happy with these bowls right here. A little glaze maker's tip here: most black glazes in the ceramic art world are made with some form of cobalt oxide or cobalt carbonate, and because of that, there's usually a tiny bit of blue in these blacks, right? So if you get a flux or usually a runny or white glaze over it, it transfers into this beautiful blue like this. And I kind of thought that's what would happen with these. It totally did. Let's take a look at our last two test styles, which are Umber Float and Tenmoku Gold, but glazed on with a brush. This one is Tenmoku Gold with Flux Blossom brushed on the top. Unfortunately, like we saw with the other Tenmoku Gold, this is not really going to do anything. In fact, it looks like it kind of took the gold out of the Tenmoku Gold, because I brushed it mainly up here to see if there's a transition phase, but there's not. It kind of just like, well, all the gold is now mine. If you look really closely, you can see at the very edge, it started to kind of turn blue, and I like that. I think that gives me hope for a lot of other darker glazes. But I do think that if I put this over any type of other black glaze, it would essentially transfer into a nice iridescent blue, like I showed you the last time. But I really wish I would have chose something like floating blue to see the contrast in between the blue and the flux. Or I really wish I would have chosen like June Prairie's purple, or maybe a Clayscapes glaze. I want to see what it comes out as on other stuff. If you follow me on Instagram, I will try my best to make test styles, and I will try my best to post the information up there with pictures and all that, but as of now, I just don't think Tenmoku Gold is the right combo. Oh, that's super sad, because look at all that gold right there. All that gold. Just taken away. Don't feel too bad though, because this does have a giant crack right in the middle, which is the reason why we're using it for a test style. So don't be like, oh man, that's wasted product. No, this was gonna go anyway. Yeah. This one is Umber Float mixed with Flux Blossom.
I love it when you walk, I love it when you talk like that. so fly.
You see that? You see that right there? That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm talking about. I actually glazed one more thing off screen with you, but I did the same exact combination. The only difference is that it was a refire. So this right here is umber float, but I refired it. So this has technically been twice fired. And look at that. That's gorgeous. This is kind of big too. Like, I don't know what kind of phase I was going through, but I felt bad because umber float is essentially light tan, and I like the glaze itself. I'm just not fond of brown glazes, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm gonna try and refire this, and I don't regret it whatsoever. It came out gorgeous. Look at the transference of color that you get right there. When it goes all the way from Flux Blossom, down, 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 then you can see where it clearly stops, and it goes right into the umber float. I'm pretty happy and pleasantly surprised with the Flux Blossom refire. Most of the time I do a refire, I'm just trying to save something that I thought wasn't good enough anyway, or I'm trying to like make it better, and this definitely came out way better. Well, thank you, Dirty Potters, for reviewing Flux Blossom Pcf-54 with me. Again, this video is sponsored by AMACO. Big shout out to them for sponsoring us with their PCF line of glazes. We have about 5 or 6 more of these. And I'll be honest with you. I'll be very honest with you, okay? This is fantastic, but I've already tested 2 other glazes in which I am currently recording because I did them in kind of a block so that I can release them one after another, at least like one, and then skip a video and do another one. And this is the least impressive one, and it is very impressive already. Like, I picked this one first because I love the color pink, and also the word blossom got me because I'm a dirty little weeaboo. But again, thank you for joining me for this review today. Big shout out to AMACO. Don't forget to click all the YouTube buttons so that YouTube doesn't flux me. Did you get it? Did you get the joke?
Thank you for your patronage.
On like a serious note though, the channel only goes up in subscribers and viewers if I like show my baby, get an aerial camera, or whenever people start going to school for pottery and look up all my good beginner videos. So right now, it's just the core audience, really. It's just the real Dirty Potters out there.